This is wild. Candace Parker just detonated a truth bomb the WNBA never wanted dropped. Caitlin Clark being shut down for the entire year isn't just a setback for Indiana. It's a full-blown catastrophe for the entire league. And now, the whispers are getting louder, not softer. What if Clark decides she's had enough and walks away from the WNBA altogether? That's not paranoia. That's the nightmare scenario. The league thought it had time to fix its problems, but time's up. Ask yourself, if Caitlin Clark quit tomorrow, what would the WNBA even look like? Spoiler. It would be a wreck, a mess they can't sweep under the rug anymore. Clark, just 2 years into her pro career, is officially sidelined with nagging groin and leg injuries. You can hear the frustration even in her carefully measured public comments. She's devastated. But fans know how to read between the lines. This isn't just about a lost season. This is about relentless pressure, an environment that failed her, and a league that refused to protect the very star keeping it alive. Enter Candace Parker, a legend who knows better than anyone what it means to push a body past its limit. She didn't sugarcoat it. Parker flat out said Clark made the right call shutting it down. She admitted that late in her own career she ignored warning signs, tried to grind through injuries, and paid the price. Her message to Clark was crystal clear. Don't let the league bully you into risking your future. Don't make my mistake. Take care of your body first. That's wisdom, delivered with authority. There's no reason to force anything. I feel like her just kind of having that approach of doing what's best for her is all we can ask for, because we'd rather heal and sit out and then come back next season and we're ready to roll and we're ready to rock. And so we've just been supporting her and she's been supporting us. She's always there. We're getting to watch film and she's in there walking through saying, hey, and we're like, get out, go do what you need to do. But I mean, she's still the same. And I feel like our approach, because we've been missing her for so long, is just to come in and compete. And we have a good rhythm, I think, with everyone that's came in. And so just keeping that as our main focus. But here's the bigger issue. This isn't just about Clark's health. This is about the WNBA's entire future hanging by a thread. Every single metric that matters, attendance, TV ratings, jersey sales, skyrocketed because of her. She didn't just elevate the fever, she dragged the entire league into relevance. And now the WNBA's one golden ticket is sitting on the sidelines in street clothes while executives scramble to spin this disaster. The obvious, terrifying question is this. What if Clark says, I'm done? What if she decides her career, her body, and her future mean more than wrecking herself for a league that refuses to blow the whistle when she's shoved across the court? The fallout would be nuclear. Let's be honest, fans didn't show up because they suddenly cared about the WNBA brand. They showed up because they cared about Clark. They bought tickets for her. They wore her jersey. They tuned in for her highlights. Take her away and the arena's empty overnight. You're right back to half-full gyms and live streams nobody clicks. And don't forget, this was avoidable. The league already rolled the dice by refusing to protect her. Every game turned into a brawl. Defenders hip-checked her, elbowed her, shoved her in midair. It looked more like hockey than basketball. The refs swallowed their whistles, Engelbert's office kept quiet, and everyone pretended it was just physical play. Now their golden goose, the one laying all those golden eggs, is out for the year. Bravo, WNBA. Brilliant work. Steph White had said that they were hopeful that Clark would return by the end of the regular season, but Caitlin was unable to fully reincorporate back into practice, and, she had never missed a game in her collegiate career or her first year in the WNBA, so this is definitely a blow, I'm sure, for the organization, but also for her. Fever went 8-5 when Clark played, and 15-15 without her. You all did win the commissioner's cup for the first time in franchise history without her, so maybe that is also another precursor. But big picture from the outside looking in, I have been a player that has had a number of injuries, and Parker sees it clearly. Playoff basketball isn't just tough, it's brutal. Faster, harder, nastier. The worst possible time to push a star back from injury. You don't bring a Ferrari into a demolition derby, but that's exactly what the WNBA wanted. Clark limping around just to squeeze a few more ratings points. That's desperation, not leadership. The thing is, Clark knows she holds the real power. She doesn't need the WNBA. The WNBA needs her. She could quit tomorrow and still have her pick of opportunities. broadcasting, endorsements, international ball, even starting her own brand. Meanwhile, the league is a charity case, propped up for years by the NBA. After decades of trying to break through, the WNBA finally had its biggest growth spurt because of Clark. One player, barely into her sophomore season, carried them further than all of Engelbert's speeches combined. That's why the quit the league talk feels so real. Fans are already saying it out loud. If Clark's not playing, I'm not watching. That's loyalty to her, not to the league. If she walks, they walk too. And that's what instant regret looks like. Candace Parker deserves credit for saying what needed to be said. She wasn't just advising Clark, she was indirectly telling the WNBA to respect its players. Stop running them into the ground. Stop pushing them back too soon. Clark isn't just a rotation piece. She's the player every scouting report circles in red. If she's not at 100%, she has no business being out there. Parker all but applauded her for realizing that truth before it was too late. But here's the twist. This isn't only about health. It's about trust. Clark gave everything to the game. She even said she was grinding for hours daily in rehab, trying to fight back. You could hear the heartbreak in her words. But when it came time for gratitude, she didn't mention the league, not the refs, not the leadership. She thanked her fans and her teammates. Period. That's telling. The fans showed up for her. The league didn't. And that's why the door is wide open now for all the Clark could walk away talk. She's already learned the hard way that the WNBA won't protect her. So why keep playing a rigged game? And if you really want to connect the dots, think about what happens if Caitlin Clark decides she's done with the WNBA. Other leagues and investors would be falling over themselves to get her. Imagine Clark playing in Europe, where she could earn tax-free money, play fewer games and, let's be honest, actually get a whistle from referees. Or picture her walking away from basketball entirely and pouring her energy into broadcasting, endorsements, media ownership, or NIL-style projects that help the next generation. She could build an empire bigger than the WNBA itself. And the league. They'd be left clutching their regrets, watching the savior they squandered thrive without them. Now, here's the thing. Clark's saga isn't happening in a vacuum. The WNBA has been here before. They've had stars, and they've had problems. Angel Reese grabbed headlines, often for all the wrong reasons. Players complained about salaries, travel conditions, and subpar facilities. The league has always hovered in this frustrating, almost there but not quite zone. Then Clark burst onto the scene, and fans flooded in. For a brief moment, it looked like all the old problems had magically vanished. But the second Clark got hurt, the illusion shattered. The curtain dropped, and everyone saw the same old WNBA issues staring back. And here's where Candace Parker's voice hits hardest. She lived this already. She admitted that during her own career she ignored injuries, pushed her body past the breaking point, and paid dearly. Now, from her vantage point as a retired legend, she's basically waving a red flag. Don't repeat my mistakes. The fact she even has to say this shows the league hasn't learned a thing. And you know what the league will probably do next? Put out some sterile press release about player safety or supporting Caitlin's recovery. Fans see right through that. They watched her get battered on the court. They watched refs swallow whistles. They watched league leadership stay quiet while Clark limped through games. No statement is fixing that. This is why the idea of Clark leaving the WNBA isn't fantasy. It's a legitimate possibility, and if it happens, the fallout will be catastrophic. All those record-breaking ticket sales, all those merch numbers, all those highlight reels dominating social media, gone overnight. The league would slide right back into irrelevance, begging networks for scraps of airtime. Maybe that humiliation is what it would take to shake the WNBA awake. But based on its history, don't count on it. And this isn't just about leaning on stars. The WNBA has been doing that forever. Diana Taurasi carried the league. Then it was Candace Parker. Then Maya Moore. And now, Clark. But here's the difference. Caitlin Clark isn't just another star. She's the star. She's the one who brought millions of fresh eyes to the game. She's the one who turned arenas into events. You can't afford to lose her, Period. Yet here we are, the cracks are showing. Her recent social media post about the injury looked polite on the surface, but fans could feel the frustration under every word. She said she was disappointed, but disappointed doesn't even scratch the surface. For Clark, that reads more like betrayed. She held up her end of the deal. She worked. She delivered. She became the storyline the league desperately needed. And what did she get in return? Elbows, flagrant fouls, and no protection until her season finally collapsed. This is year 2 for Clark, not year 1. The hype should have already solidified into dominance. She should be headlining playoff highlights, not watching them from the sideline. Instead, the WNBA is sitting on a giant uh-oh moment plastered across their season. Let's not mince words. If Caitlin Clark walks, the WNBA faces ratings in free fall, arenas that look like ghost towns, furious sponsors demanding answers, and a commissioner scrambling for excuses. The only way to stop that train wreck is to treat Clark like the superstar she is. That means not just plastering her on posters, but actually protecting her on the court. That means fair officiating. That means genuine support for her long-term career, not just squeezing her dry for a quick payday. Here's the heart of the issue. The WNBA doesn't protect stars. They exploit them. They cash in on them. They market them to the moon. But when it comes time to actually safeguard their health, their reputation, their careers, the league is nowhere to be found. That's the pattern, and Clark is learning it faster than anyone before her. Candace Parker practically begged her to see the bigger picture. She told her the postseason is no place for half-healed injuries. She said she was proud Clark didn't rush back. That's an endorsement of Clark's maturity, but it's also a warning that the WNBA will happily push her body into the ground if she lets them. And think about what Clark chose here. Every single force was pushing her to return. The media, the hype, the sponsors, the playoff narrative, and she still said no. She still chose her future over the league's desperation. That decision speaks volumes. It proves she understands her value better than the league does. And fans, they see it too. They were the ones filling arenas. They were the ones buying tickets months in advance. Now, many of them are saying out loud what the WNBA fears most. If Clark isn't playing, why should I watch? That's the nightmare sentence echoing across social media, across ticket sites, across living rooms. This isn't some petty controversy like Angel Reese's latest drama. This isn't a one-off headline about charter flights. This is the WNBA's crown jewel benched, while Candace Parker, one of the greatest of all time, openly says, yes, this was the right move. That's not just a headline, that's a crisis. So the league has a choice staring it in the face. Either they finally step up, protect their most valuable player, and prove they can manage success, or they watch Caitlin Clark walk out the door and take their entire future with her. Because let's be clear, Clark isn't naive. She knows her value. She knows she's bigger than the league. And once a player realizes they don't need the institution, that institution loses its grip. The WNBA isn't ready for that shift. Because when Parker retired, fans were sad, but the league survived. When Sue Bird retired, it stung, but the league kept going. With Clark, there is no recovery. There is no moving on. You don't replace her. You collapse without her. So congratulations, WNBA. You begged for a superstar, and you finally got one. You plastered her face on every promo, you bragged about her ratings, you squeezed her for every dime of revenue you could, and then you let her get hacked, shoved, and beaten until her body gave out. Now she's out for the playoffs and you're staring at the doomsday question. What if she doesn't come back at all? Here's the bottom line. Caitlin Clark's injuries silenced the league. But her quitting? That would end it. The WNBA can't survive without her, and Candace Parker just made that crystal clear. She confirmed what fans already know. Clark was right to protect herself, and if the league doesn't wise up, if they keep ignoring the warning signs, then one day Clark might make the decision that no press release can spin. She'll walk away for good. And when that happens, the WNBA's instant regret won't just be a phrase, it'll be their obituary.